prayer was said, and Lydia heard the words they spread. Her heart was opened like a door, and grace came in to stay and pour. Her house received the living flame, and all within were changed the same. What started by the water's side would carry far and open wide. A captive girl cried through the street till darkness broke beneath their feet. Her masters burned at freedom's sound and dragged the servants through the town. The rods came down, the doors were sealed, their backs were torn, their wounds unhealed. Yet chains and walls could not contain the song they lifted through the pain. At midnight, all the prison sang. At midnight, all the iron sprang. The earth replied, the doors flew wide, and mercy stood where fear had cried. At midnight, hope broke through the stone. At midnight, no one stood alone. What locked us in could not remain. At midnight, love unmade the chain. The jailer woke and drew his blade, certain the prisoners had escaped. But from the dark a voice rang plain, do not do harm, we all remain. He fell and asked with shaking breath, what must I do to escape this death? Believe, they said, the Lord who saves, and joy ran through his house like flame. In Ephesus the word grew strong, till hidden arts could not live on. The costly books were piled high, and all were burned beneath the sky. Old spells and shadows lost their claim as truth went out in Jesus' name. What men once feared they now denied, and fed the fire instead of lies. But silver shrines still made men rich, and greed rose up with fevered pitch. The theater roared, the city shook, blind rage replaced the truth they'd heard. Yet through the noise the name moved on, not owned by craft or temple song. No idol made by human hand could hold the weight of what would stand. At midnight all the prison sang. At midnight all the iron sprang. The earth replied, the doors flew wide, and mercy stood where fear had cried. At midnight hope broke through the stone. At midnight no one stood alone. What locked us in could not remain. At midnight love unmade the chain. A young man sank through midnight air, and grief fell hard on all who were there. But life came back where loss had spread, and breath returned where hope seemed dead. Then by the shore he spoke his last to elders holding to him fast. He warned of wolves, he urged them still to guard the flock with watchful will. He said he did not shrink from tears or hide the truth to spare his years. He gave his hands, he gave his days, and walked the heart and faith away. It's more to give than clutch and keep, more gain to sow than hoard and sleep. They knelt and wept beside the sand, and let him go with lifted hands. At midnight all the prison sang. At midnight all the iron and midnight.